If you're into webcomics, you must have heard of this legendary contest with a prize pool of $1 million already. And although I chose not to post my webcomic until I was done with at least half of it, I decided otherwise this year. I suppose a lot of people will have their eyes on the contest entries, the public, participants, judges, so the perspective of an audience finally getting to read all I've been working on for 5 years now, holy shit, has been a convincing factor in this decision, right after the competition factor, which I am a sucker for. I want to enter the arena with the battalion I've been training for years now, especially knowing that I only have to post 3 chapters in order to participate, which I already have, or almost. I'm still editing some details and adding panels that I wrote into the story just recently. And in this video I will tell you why I'm going to win, why I'm confident in my chances of getting noticed by some readers, at least, I hope, and why you should support my entry by commenting and liking it when it comes out. The link will be in description. First of all, I have pretty huge chapters done already. I'm talking 80 panels for the first one, so that's a length that could make me stand out if I manage to capture people's attention. I know there's a size limit to how heavy your file can be, so I hope I won't have to shrink it down. This first chapter has had multiple versions over the years. I redrew it at least 3 times, making sure it wasn't boring and introducing the characters properly, so my entry will be the product of years of thinking and editing. I'm proud to say that what I will be posting is probably the best version it could have been, and that's what I plan on my webcomic to be, in a few years at least. That's also why I'm only interested in posting these 3 first chapters, getting feedback and victory, and disappearing again right after, for a long time. I'm really excited to read comments about it. I've been dying to share more of the story and the characters' internal turmoil and feelings. I'm so impatient to have some sort of attention for them that I even commissioned an artist for fan art. Their name will be on the screen, I don't remember it exactly right now. Yeah, I'm joking about being convinced of winning any sort of prize, but to me, the real victory is just to get some appreciation for my characters, and maybe a little bit of an audience, but that's secondary. I'm not necessarily looking for a career in webcomics at the moment, since I'm already making my first steps into the animation industry, and just saying it out loud fills me with joy. I found the best internship at NAS Animation Studio, where I'm currently animating and fixing some technical stuff on their brand new animated series, Nikopo. You can check out their YouTube channel, where the first episodes should be out soon, if not already. It's aimed at a younger audience, but the stories are very cute and environmentally friendly. The sets are made out of recycled plastics, and I got to see them in real life. It's in Italian, but it's not that hard to understand, and the voice acting is adorable, so go check it out. Also, yeah, I'm recording in South Italy right now, where I'm staying for 3 months. I feel so lucky to be here. Really, the setting is beautiful, and I rediscovered the sun after suffering the French and Belgium winter for months. I'm feeling more energetic and hopeful than ever. This place is truly fantastic. Also, the affordable pizzas are a gift from the gods. And I can't believe how close I feel to my story here. I mean, just look at the old town. It's exactly the feeling I always pictured for the city of my comic. Very narrow and high, little details in the architecture everywhere. And this, flying buttresses! Remember how I felt about them in my video about background design? There's plenty of them in this place because you can't dig in too deep to create strong foundations for the buildings. It's water right underneath. I work on an island. And I feel like I'm going to stumble upon Morgan and Soline anytime now. Really, I couldn't dream of a better place to work on my story and as an animator. I don't know how much more luck I'll get in the future, but I would love to keep this kind of day-to-day life. It's just amazing. To get back on the webcomic theme, I want to note that I really tried to make every panel count. I can't afford to draw for nothing, and neither can you, so it has to serve the story somehow. If there's a close-up on a prop, it'll be important later. If something appears briefly, it has to mean something. If there's a typo or something weirdly drawn, well, it's probably a mistake, don't dig in too deep. About Patreon now, I'm thinking about creating a monthly subscription, like $2, so that I can keep posting chapters as they arrive somewhere, but it would be very rare, and I don't want to deceive anyone. What you would find would rather be sketches and maybe ideas of character design, among other things. But then I'm thinking, there's probably a lot of people advertising their Patreon just so that people can know where to tip them, so I'll do the same, I think. but please by no means feel pressured to subscribe. It's just an option I'm keeping open. I'm perfectly fine if no one joins. And, I'm not looking to make a living out of webcomics specifically, but I'm still working toward an additional income with this and YouTube. It can't be a bad idea to have multiple options already set in nowadays. About the contest again, if you're here for advice on how to maximize your chances in it, I may not be the most qualified because I myself have a lot of questions. Like, should we post day one or wait for a week to avoid being drowned by the massive amount of entries? Since the ranking is engagement-based, shouldn't we post as early as possible in order to get the longest exposure? Is the site going to crash on March the 10th? I can't imagine the amount of data uploaded at once. We may not have much choice but to wait a little bit then. But my biggest question remains. I can't wrap my head around it. Is my story a drama or a thriller? It's definitely about a mystery to solve, but I focus a lot on my characters' feelings and world building. And as soon as I'm sure about my choice, I'm starting to fall for the other option. Will I give up entirely and just go a slice of life in the end? So it's about Morgan enjoying his day-to-day life as a former circus slave, now illustrator for his massive corporation running the country. And on the way he meets plenty of fun characters, such as the brother of his dead best friend, the suspected murderer, the boss of the corporation, or the creepy showrunner that haunts his nightmares. Honestly, I would read a silly-looking comic about such a heavy world, but I doubt it would fit under Webtoon's guidelines for this genre. What else is left to say? The world I'm writing about is heavily inspired by France under the Second Republic, so in the 1800s. I think I mentioned it already in a previous video, but it's always good to remind people about the historical context. Except I just drew whatever clothes I liked and I mostly got rid of the patriarchal aspect of society. I just wanted to express whatever I wanted through any characters without societal barriers other than class disparity. So maybe don't come reading my comic expecting historical accuracy because it's pure fiction in an aesthetic I love. For example, I've designed a lot of propaganda posters in an Art Nouveau style. I had so much fun doing it, you have no idea. I kinda want to print and glue them to my wall as if my room was a nod to the glory of the Eden house. Speaking of propaganda, the Speedpaint you've been watching is of the first panels of Chapter 3 of Throne of Eden. It's a flashback of Morgan's childhood in the Eden history and how he first met his future friend Rachel. You'll see that their first encounter wasn't exactly striking of mutual affection, but it was the start of something really important in Morgan's life, the realization that something's off here, which later leads him into living for good. This flashback really stands out among the other chapters by his colors. It was very refreshing to navigate between these bright red shades compared to the cooler browns and whites of the previous ones. You'd be amazed at how quickly I drew the backgrounds too, for once. It's all vertical lines suggesting infinite curtains. Unrelated, but I hope the audio quality is acceptable, one characteristic of South Italy buildings is their tall-ass rooms. The ceiling in my bedroom is more than 2 meters tall, 6'5" for my Americans out there, so that means a lot of echoing and resonance. I'm curled up in a closet under a blanket right now, I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to leave you on this. Check out my webcomic whenever it's out, and I would be delighted to read your opinion and your entries. Ciao!